Charlo, Canelo versus Charlo, post-fight videos, Jordan Thompson, Fury versus Uysk, Fury versus Ngannou. Oh, so much to talk about. The return of Conor Benn. Yeah, I know. There's lots to talk about. Let's get on with it at BWTM SPORTS Gaming. Stay right there. We're here, BWTM Sports Gaming, talking all things boxing. So let's get down to it. We'll start with Canelo versus Charlo post-fight thoughts. You know, at the press conference, when Charlo was ramping up and he was talking about being a lion and a dog, and you know, he's about the fight and he's about that life and he's an animal. And Canelo kind of looked across at him and kind of wanted to laugh and didn't know where to put his face because he sort of felt embarrassed. At the time, I thought Canelo was a bit concerned. But now looking back at it, Canelo knew that Charlo was full of crap. I don't know how he knew that, but he knew. Unless it's scripted. Because from round one, it seemed to me that Charlo was going to, he was in survival mode from round one. Survival mode stroke fighting scared. Like, you throw punches, but you throw punches because you're pressurized. You throw punches because you're trying to keep the guy off you as opposed to throwing punches with an intent. Because when you actually decide to sit down with a guy and trade, like, this guy's punching too hard for me. Let me not engage to the point where I get caught with something nasty. It just seemed that every time, as I mentioned in the pre-fight, Charlo's defense, at times where he gets caught with a left hook, he needs to be careful of it. It was a left hook, and I told you all, if Charlo starts to back up against the ropes against Canelo, that's where he's going to find himself in trouble. And of course, we saw that he got dropped very hard by Canelo. Let me just... my laptop was not charging, so we could have had a situation where my laptop went off. So we don't want that, do we? Right, yes. So that was that. So that's the first thing we could talk about. The second thing we can talk about is the fact that I believe that the weight, moving up in weight, he was sluggish and he was slower. And the third thing was, not only that he's sluggish and slower, he was actually talking about he wished he'd put on more weight. Derek James said he wished he put on less weight. So I don't know where he was going with being, you know, it was clear to me. You could tell that Charlo was off of the pace. There's no way you can not fight for a year and a half or for however long it was, 18 months, 2 years, and then come back and be sharp. It's just impossible. It's not happening. So to me, what I saw was a guy that was ring rusty, which I thought he was. I felt at times his balance and coordination weren't quite right. It seems like either his feet were slipping or he just didn't seem like he could get proper footing. And at times, his footwork looked not, the word's not messy, but he looked uncoordinated at times. Like he wasn't as slippery and as slick. And obviously, coming from 154 to now go up to 168, that's a lot of weight to carry, you know. Especially when you can walk around at that weight, but fighting around that weight takes time for your body to assimilate and get used to that. So that is something that, you know, anybody who's deciding to move up 2 weight divisions needs to consider. And of course, you haven't fought for ever how long, so ring rust. And on top of that is, you know, the hand injury he had before. So I'm not making excuses with Charlo. We knew that going in, but now he's saying that he's got, like, Jamal Charlo saying that his kids are getting bullied because of his brother's performance. To me, he got paid a career high, and he's like, yeah, I don't get beat up. I don't get knocked out in this fight. I've jumped up 2 weight divisions. I still keep my belts. I get a huge payday. I don't get knocked out. But I didn't put myself in a position to get knocked out because I didn't have to give it a real go. But who cares? It's 2 weight divisions up. That's their business. I'm getting paid good money. So, hey, I can then go back down to my weight division and start running my mouth up and say, well, I went up 2 weight divisions to dare to be great. So you've got all the excuses there really to cover your back. And then, despite what all the reporters are saying and what people think, and Crawford saying is what he's saying, until Crawford gets in there, we'll see what Crawford can do. Because going up 2 weight divisions like the way Charlo did, I think Crawford would stand more of a chance. But out of the two of them, Crawford's more likely to get himself knocked out. Why? Because Crawford will actually try and be a dog in there. And that's where I think he'll get himself knocked out. One thing that really perplexed me about this fight with Canelo, did you notice that he stood up for every round? And did you notice, from what I noticed, he did not take much time off. Usually in Canelo fights, Canelo throws punches, he takes a break. Throws punches, takes a break. Throws punches, takes a break. Okay, he's not, if you don't notice Canelo's career, usually like he throws punches and he can never go consistently for 3 rounds throwing punches. But for some reason in this fight, he was coming out every round like ever-ready battery. Yeah, every round he's coming out throwing punches. He didn't seem to tire. And I just found it weird how he was just coming out every single round. He said he had something to do with his hand injury, but he just came out every round just walking forward, throwing punches. Like he was literally had his hands down, walking forward, throwing punches. And I think to myself, really? Really? You've got that much energy from round 1 to round 12 and you're actually older now? I'm like, this guy's crazy. This guy, every round he's coming out fresh, not tired. I'm like, dude, something's not right with you. Like every single round, there was no tires. Like every round, just walking forward like this. Even he had his hands down by his hide, getting it with punches and walking forward. Nah, that is not, for me, that's not boxing training. People can argue me all you want, but if you look at Canelo's career, Canelo's always had his career of a guy that doesn't throw punch for every second, for every round. This guy's come out against Charlo, and he's doing it for 12 rounds. Literally, the 12th round, he's running after Charlo. I'm like, bro, where are you getting all that energy from? And you're an older fighter now. Like, so when you were younger, you couldn't do that. Now you're older, you were able to do that. I don't understand. I don't get it. But anyway, put that to one side. So the next thing, Jordan Thompson. Very quickly, I want to go into this one. So the script is, I wish people stop buying these scripts. Well, he can punch. Well, everyone can punch. Oh, he's knocking dudes out. Okay, at what level? Area level, British title level? Yeah, and then the dude you're going to fight is like knocking guys out or beating guys up at elite level. There's a difference. It's like, I don't know. I can... The good comparison would be, I can drive a bumper car, which means now I can go and drive in Formula One. It's those kind of comparisons. Well, he can drive bumper cars. So the fact he can drive bumper cars means that, like, now he has the ability and the capability of driving against Lewis Hamilton. Bro, that doesn't work. That logic doesn't work. You're giving it a go. Giving what a go? It's like me getting in the car, driving bumper cars, and me trying to go and now drive against Formula One and try and take on Lewis Hamilton. It doesn't work like that, bro. You're disrespecting everything that champion has achieved. You're disrespecting everything about craft and skill and talent, and you're making mugs of boxing fans. Anyone who actually thought that Jordan Thompson stood a chance, you see a head kicking in. Seriously. Oh, he's one punch away from being a world champion. Yeah, he's one punch away from being not sparkle. And what did we see? The poor guy splattered in the canvas Oh, it's you, the Jordan Thompson. Yeah, but he gave it a chance. He gave it all at world level. What? It's nonsense. It's people that and people accept this nonsense. So promoter says, "Oh yeah, he's a big puncher. We know he's jumping up levels, but you know what? I know you're full of rubbish. I know that, like this, you're putting this guy in with an elite guy who is capable of rendering this guy's unconscious very quickly. It's cruiserweight division. People don't mess around in that division, and you decide to put Jordan Thompson in with him. No, that is what you call sending a lamb to slaughter and expecting that lamb to come out unscathed on the other side. Not happening. So that's one side. The return of Conor Benn. Let's talk about Conor Benn. What can I say? He looked undersized. And for the whole of those 10 rounds, I kept thinking to myself, if this guy could punch, we wouldn't be talking about Conor Benn today. Because from what I noticed against Conor Benn, stuff I noticed was that Conor Benn looked out of place at light middleweight. And if he looks out of place at my light middleweight, I can tell you now, he ain't doing nothing middleweight. Look at how small he looked against that dude at light middleweight. And then look at the size of Eubank, who's struggling to make middleweight. Don't know. I don't know how he makes middleweight. I mean, that now looking at now, you can see why Ben and his team wanted to drain Eubank, because he looked so small in there. And that dude there, at one point, I thought Conor was being set up with that dude, because that fight there showed that his punching power isn't. He's talking about, I can move from 147 to 160. You could. So could Charlo move from 154 to 168? We all saw how that happened. I don't know. But Conor Benn certainly is not the explosive puncher that we think he'd be at 160. And he looked, to me, very one-dimensional. I just don't see... He just looked undersized. And I don't know. That dude's not world class. That dude's was a decent fighter. But as a fighter, that Ben was meant to go out there and showcase. That was not a fight for Ben to be life and death. And I'm not sure, off the back of that performance, how you sell Ben versus Eubank unless it's on Ben's name. Because that's all you really can sell it on. I think, to be honest, with regards to the whole situation with the drug and the fact he's suspended and now he's fighting now, my personal opinion, I personally would like to see Ben have his license back, get it cleared, and then box. And people might say, yeah, will he be out of the ring for X amount of time? Fine. But at least that stops the negative press. It stops the unnecessary talk about while he's sticking two fingers up at the board and they don't care about the British Boxing Board of Control and all the rest of it. Because remember, his dad did it. His dad took a license, but he still came back and fought in the UK. So I personally would like to see it go that way. But they have, the way it looks to me is that there's a big investment on Ben and they need to get their money back. That's why they're pushing so quickly for the Eubank fight. Because if he gets beat by Eubank, like it's a win-win for them. Not for you, Ben, but for them. The way I look at it is, if he loses to Eubank, well, he's a welterweight. And we saw that in the light middleweight fight. He's really a welterweight. But he went up there and he moved up the ranks and he took this fight because, well, it's his pops and his dad and the fights they had back in the day. That's what that's going to be on. That's what it's going to be about. But the way I look at it if I'm honest with you. Did that Benn fight excite you and make you think, yeah, Ben's got what it takes to beat Eubank? Or this fight's going to be, this is going to be a tough fight for Eubank. I didn't see that. I saw a guy who was vastly undersized. I saw a guy that was one-dimensional. I saw a guy that was very hittable. I saw a guy that when he was on the ropes looked very vulnerable. He had his chin up in the air, backing up against the ropes. His chin was there to be clapped many a times. I saw a guy who was very vulnerable to be countered. And that fighting style, that way of fighting is just as bad as a guy fighting with his chin in the air, fighting with his face, because you're relying on the big punch. And after the big punch, when a guy starts to back you up and starts to walk through your punches, you don't have much to offer. And that's what I'm kind of seeing with Conor Benn. I'm seeing a guy that when he hits you with his best punches and you start to back him up, he doesn't look so fierce and doesn't look so good. And he talks a great game, but I'm not too sure whether the skill level is actually there to be talking about calling out the elites of the welterweight division. I mean, I don't think Benn would ever have beaten a Marcus Maidana. I don't think he beats a Marcus Maidana. I don't think he beats a Boots Ennis. He definitely don't beat a Crawford. I'd even argue if he could beat Spencer like that, Crawford for him. He doesn't beat Keith Thurman, I don't think. A lot of them top dudes that I don't think he beats. I would actually like to see Adrian Broner versus Benn. I would actually like to see that fight from a technical standpoint. I mean, does he beat Kell Brook? I mean, I don't know how good Ben's chin really is. And we've seen now, if you put him on the back foot, he's not so good. I don't know. How does he do against a heavy-handed welterweight? I don't know. I really don't know. So, okay, what else can we talk about? Let's talk about Fury versus Ngannou and Fury versus Usyk. Now, is either something I know that they know that I don't know, or and the fix is in, or they're very, very arrogant. Because I saw Ngannou's workout, and if that workout is truly to be believed, then yeah, Fury's going to do a number on him. Fury's expected to do a number on him. I just don't think it goes that way. Because I hear a lot of people talking about, this is Ngannou's first fight. This is not Ngannou's first fight. Guy's been fighting for years. It's been the first fight he's having maybe in a boxing ring, but even that, most of his fights have been stand up using his hands here. So I disagree with all that. He might not throw punches the way that people want him to throw punches, but Deontay Wilder, who is not who a lot of people say cannot box, but can punch, can drop Fury twice, almost knocked him out. So again, I don't understand this logic of Fury being this great fighter, because he's good, but he's also vulnerable. So unless the fix is in, which means that Ngannou is going to just fall over, which means that guarantees that Fury is going to get out of this fight without being hurt or troubled in any way, shape, or form to go into the Usyk fight. I don't see that being possible unless the fix is in and they've said to Ngannou, all right, mate, look, we've got this undisputed fight here. Just take the money. Don't do too much damage. Just sparring session. Hold back on the punching power. And just be in defensive mode. Don't throw too many punches. Just stand in, walk around. And Tyson's going to throw the jab. And you're going to make Tyson look, You know, you're going to try and throw big, wide, winging punches. Tyson's just going to just use your jab and just box you with the jab. That's all that's going to happen. That's all you need to worry about. That's all you need to worry about. And that's how I feel. This boxing, you know, for them to have set up the way they set things up now, I'm a bit concerned. I really am. I just don't know. How can you be so sure that the next fight is ready and you're fighting one of the most dangerous men in UFC boxing history? A man who's got one punch knockout power and he's a beast. And he's knocked out dudes similar size to Fury. I don't. There's something about that makes me feel very uncomfortable. That is like a smash and grab job that, you know, you're going to take this money and it's an exhibition and, you know, we all like to believe it's going to be an absolute war out there or Ngannou's going to do this and that. And all we know on the night, Ngannou may just go out there, put his hands up and just take punches and throw punches from a mile out and none of them ever touch Fury. Pantomime style. If it goes that way, then yeah, Fury can fight again by the end of the year. Not a problem. Not a problem, mate. If it's fixed, not a problem, mate. And I've seen many a situation like this where fights have been fixed to ensure that the next fight can be made. Like, for example, there's an example. When Oscar De La Hoya fought Felix Sturm, do you remember that fight in middleweight? When Oscar De La Hoya fought Felix Sturm, the fix was already in. All Oscar had to do is get to 12 rounds. Why? Because the super fight with Hopkins was there. There was too much money on the table for De La Hoya to lose. Even though De La Hoya lost to Felix Sturm, in my opinion, they could not allow Oscar De La Hoya to lose that fight. So what they did, they gave just De La Hoya the WBO middleweight title. So then he could fight against the unified champion, Bernard Hopkins. That's how that rolls. How many times have you seen fights where the next fight is a super fight and the dude doesn't look great and they've done something that looks a bit dubious to make that super fight happen? Boxing's like that. Fury versus Usyk. Don't have much to say about this fight because until the two guys are walking to the ring, not much I can say. Any thoughts? What else? Let me think what else to talk about. Let me get some water here. I just got seriously dry. Okay, and then let's talk about the Fury glove controversy. I watched a video recently, and it makes a lot of sense about the Fury glove controversy. So, the guy says when people wear their gloves in boxing, they wear their gloves in boxing, and like they put the whole hand inside the glove, right? But they're saying with Fury, like this is the glove here. So that's the glove. But Fury's fist is actually here. So when Fury hits you, you see you've got all this part of the glove here still flopping. His fist is in the glove. So he's catching you with his bare hand. Bare fist hitting you. His bare fist is making connection with you. And so therefore, the rest of that glove is floppy. Because actually, you see the part where where the glove is like this? This part of the glove here is where Fury's hand is. So that's why you've got that floppy thing on the glove. Interesting theory. Interesting. That means you're getting hit with the glove itself and the hand. So the hand, the fist is clear, like there. So you can wrap, and then you're hitting. And the glove is here. So the glove is not really in the actual, your hand is not exactly in the full in the glove. It's in the part where they wrap the glove up. So here's where the fist would be. And here's where the glove would be. Very interesting theory. Is it true? I don't know because I'm not getting hit. Just to think about it. Okay. Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington. As soon as this fight was announced, I'm like, Warrington's washed. He's finished. He's feeling the best shape of his career. Can he turn back clock the clock unless Lee Wood does something stupid like leave his chin in the air? Lee Wood should knock Josh Warrington sparkle. Because Lee Wood, I've always said, was a good fighter. And he's a good fighter that can box and can punch. He made a mistake against Lara, and he put it right. Warrington's going to get knocked out, as far as I'm concerned. Because the only thing Warrington beats Lee Wood on is experience. But I believe Lee Wood now has got his own experience, and he's got punching power. He can punch hard. So I tip Lee Wood to win that fight by knockout. Yeah, Lee Wood by knockout, I expect. Right. I'll leave it here with this video. Thank you so much for watching. This has been BWTM Sports Gaming. We're out of here. Take care.